Assalamu alaikum and good evening. You are watching HumSub.TV and I am Munib Hamid with the news. Supreme Court rejects NAB's appeal for reopening Hudaybiyah case. A three-judge Supreme Court bench on Friday rejected the National Accountability Bureau's appeal to reopen the Rs 1.2 billion Hudaybiyah papers Mills reference. The bench, comprising Justice Mushir Alam, Justice Qazi Faiz Isa and Justice Mazhar Alam Khan Mia Khail, has been hearing the appeal against the 2014 decision of the Lahore High Court to quash the reference. A written order will be issued later in the day detailing the bench's reason for its decision. All three judges were present when the verdict was read. However, it remains to be seen in the written order whether all three voted against reopening the reference or not. Justice Isa told the lawyer that the document on which the Bureau has premised its case, the confession of former Finance Minister Isakar, has not been attached to the appeal for the reopening of the case. Details of Jadhav's meeting with family to be worked out. Foreign Office. New Delhi has accepted Islamabad's offer for a meeting between convicted Indian spy Kulbhushan Jadhav and his wife, mother and an Indian diplomat. Foreign Office spokesman Dr. Muhammad Faisal, when speaking at the weekly media briefing, confirmed the receipt of Indian acceptance. The meeting would now take place on December 25. The details and modalities of the meeting will now be worked out. Pakistan had initially offered a meeting between Jadhav and his wife on humanitarian grounds. However, India made the acceptance of the offer conditional to permission for his mother and an Indian diplomat to accompany her. After extensive deliberations, the Indian request was allowed, and last week, December 25, was proposed as the meeting day. NAB orders probe into Multan Metro Bus project and PIA plane sale. At first executive board meeting on Thursday, after assuming charge of the Office of National Accountability Bureau, Chairman retired Justice Javed Iqbal ordered inquiries into alleged corruption in the Multan Metro Bus project and the new Islamabad airport, the sale of PIA aircraft and money laundering activities at the Naveed Bank's New York branch. Besides taking several other important decisions, the meeting gave approval to 8 inquiries and 2 investigations into various corruption cases. United States shows evidence that Iran supplied arms to Houthis. The United States on Thursday presented for the first time pieces of what it said were Iranian weapons supplied to the Iran-aligned Houthi militia in Yemen, describing it as conclusive evidence that Tehran was violating UN resolutions. The arms included charred remnants of what the Pentagon said was an Iranian-made short-range ballistic missile fired from Yemen on November 4 at King Khalid International Airport outside Riyadh, as well as a drone and an anti-tank weapon recovered in Yemen by the Saudis. United States trying to put together Middle East peace deal, says Saudi Foreign Minister. U.S. administration is serious about getting a peace deal signed between Israelis and Palestinians, but its proposed plan is still being put together, according to Saudi Arabia's foreign minister. President Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital and eventually move the U.S. embassy there has angered the Palestinians, who question Washington's role as a sponsor of Middle East peace. Trump's advisor and son-in-law Jared Kushner is leading efforts to restart negotiations, though his bid has shown little public progress so far. Suicide bomber kills 18 at Somalia's police academy. A suicide bomber from Somalia's Al-Shabaab insurgents killed 18 police officers and wounded 15 others on Thursday when he blew himself up inside the country's main police academy, the force's chief said. Witnesses said the police were gathered in a square ahead of their early morning parade when the bomber attacked in the capital, Mogadishu. The assault is the latest in a decade-old battle by the jihadists to overthrow Somalia's internationally backed government. China, South Korea look to diffuse tensions, improve ties. Presidents of China and South Korea talked on Thursday to repair ties strained over a U.S. anti-missile defense system, but the beating of a South Korean photojournalist by Chinese security caused a pall over the summit. Relations between Beijing and Seoul have been icy since South Korea allowed the United States to install the THAAD Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System to guard against threats from North Korea. China considers THAAD a threat to its own security and has imposed economic measures against South Korean companies in a move seen as a retaliation. Brexit. European Union leaders set to move talks on to next stage. European Union leaders are expected to formally agree to start the next phase of Brexit negotiations later. Mrs. May was applauded by other leaders at dinner in Brussels on Thursday night after she made a speech about Brexit. The next round of talks on a transition deal for the end of Brexit are expected to begin as early as next week. The European Commission has said sufficient progress has been made on the first phase to move on to discussing the framework of a future relationship, including issues such as security and trade. Japan expands unilateral sanctions against North Korea. Japan has imposed fresh sanctions against North Korea as it seeks to ramp up pressure on Pyongyang over its nuclear and missile programs. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga said the assets of another 19 entities and individuals would be frozen. More than 210 organizations and people from countries including China and Russia will now be targeted. Businesses on the blacklist include banks, coal and mineral traders, and transport firms. The widening of sanctions comes ahead of a meeting of the UN Security Council to be held on Friday. No evidence of birth test under fixing threat, says International Cricket Council. International Cricket Council are taking allegations in a British newspaper about attempts to organize spot fixing during the third Ashes Test. Extremely serious, but do not think the match has been compromised, global cricket governing body reported that underground bookmakers from India had offered to sell undercover reported from the newspaper information about spot fixing in the test between Australia and England, which started at the WACA in Perth on Thursday. Weather. Mainly cold and dry weather is expected in most parts of the country. However, more rain, thunderstorm with snowfall over the hills is expected at few places in Malakand Division and Gilgit-Baltistan. Very cold weather conditions are likely to prevail in northern parts of the country, including Quetta. Dense foggy conditions are likely over plain areas of Punjab and Upper Sindh during night and morning hours. And that's all for now. For more news and updates, keep watching HumSub.TV. Take care. Please subscribe to HumSub.TV and hit the notification icon on the screen to get the latest updates of our channel. Thank you for watching HumSub.TV.